What's up, baby? Welcome to Re-Frag. I'm Drew Face. This is my co-host.
I'm Scooter, and today we're going to be starting off with a little bit of current news. It's happening right now, and I'm super excited. But Drew, it's the race to world first.
Dude, I didn't even know this was until last year. I didn't know this was a thing. And you gotta tell me more about it. What is this? I'm not a WoW guy. What is this? What the fuck is this?
Yeah, so it's funny you say that you haven't heard of it since last year, because last year was the biggest one, and it had a lot of viewership, and even this year it's still showing really strong. But if you're not familiar, it's World of Warcraft. The new raid has launched today. It launched at around 9 EST, and yeah, we're right into it. Like, whatever guild, all these big orgs have their own guilds that show up for these kind of events, and the first guild to complete it holds that title. There's not really any prizing to it either. It's just
It's bragging points.
It's essentially bragging points in that title, but it's good. It's good for the orgs, obviously, and it's good for the players. It shows off their skills, but it's going on right now. Complexity, my boys at Complexity in the lead, killing 4 out of 5 so far. Or sorry, they're on the 5th boss out of 10 total. And
halfway.
Yeah, they're halfway. So I'm excited. They're trying to finish up this 5th boss.
Right.
But yeah, they're one boss ahead of everybody else. They had a little later start, but I'm just excited. I love watching WoW, and it's
So tell me something, because I'm a little when I watched it last year, I was quite I think this year the direction will be a lot better, because I know the production team behind this more into WoW. But what like what makes it so hard to finish this raid boss? Like, are all the bosses just at max level, the hardest bosses and monsters the game has at you?
so essentially. So for example, when before the raid drops, you can play it at a lower difficulty. So the teams that get to practice it in heroic, and even in the beta testing, it's still hard, but it's obviously a lot easier for them because they're used to competing at the top. And but they don't really get to experience all. It's called mythic. The hardest difficulty is called mythic, and they don't get to experience that until the raid actually drops. So there's a lot of it is the hardest mechanics in the game. Like, it's the hardest mechanics. Bosses have 20, I don't know, probably 28 million health. And it's just crazy to sit there and watch. I think 28 million's even really low. I'm pretty sure that's 20%, but it's just something about it. And it's weird because I was talking about this yesterday. Unlike traditional esports,
Right.
to my knowledge at least, there's no prize pool. It is just sheer title. It's bragging rights, showing off your skill, and these orgs help these guys get to that point. But I don't know, because it's got that race to world first around it. It's so interesting to watch, and it's so good for viewers.
So there's a bit of prestige, but I'm wondering, last year, if your entire guild dies, then you're out of the race, right? Or can you restart?
No, so whenever a guild that's in World of Warcraft, that's called a wipe. When your guild dies, you just gotta res back up and start again. But obviously the boss's health goes back to max. But you can do buffs, and you'll lose all your buffs. You'll lose food buff, flasks, all that stuff. And then the best part about it is we get to see probably 20 odd tries per boss, and that's what makes this event so good. It's so long. Last year's it started early December, and it went longer than that. It went all the way to Christmas. It ended 3 days before Christmas. And so normally it takes a week and a half to 2 weeks for this event to be over, but because they're all racing to be the first finish, it's 14-hour streams. So it's such good content for viewers, and it's I wish it was more of an esport event, where there was prizing, there was more on top of that to kind of boost these players. And because a lot of these players have jobs too, and a lot of them have to miss, some of the best players have to miss race to world first because they can't get time off of work and stuff.
Yeah, it kind of sucks in that regard, right? It reminds me Like when I was watching this event and I heard that they didn't compete for a prize at all, it reminded me of like the old school days of esports where like you're just trying to be the best and having that little dopamine hit, that ego boost, you know?
Yeah,
So like that's why I admire the most about it. But at the same time, like, they kind of do deserve to get rewarded. like,
they really
like
do.
these guys are putting in legit work because like from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, MMOs is the highest skill. The main skill that you're really proficient at is management, like resource management, time management, just managing all your skills, right? And I think what they're doing, like they're literally micromanaging every moment, and then they have to consider random attack patterns of the boss. Then they have to consider all their like their guild members. Like that's really difficult. That's like really hard to do.
Yeah. So, like for example, the guy that I watch mainly on Complexity, and I'm sure, well, most people watch him. I mean, it shows in the view count. He's sitting at 80K viewers right now.
Wow,
Um,
that's a lot.
but he's Complexity's raid leader, so he actually doesn't play the game anymore. He plays in his off time, but when it comes to Race to World First, he doesn't play. He actually watches from another player's perspective, and he makes all the calls for them. So all these like um, micromanaged timings. Yes, they have add-ons in WoW, so like a little like timer will pop up and say like 3, 2, 1, jump or whatever, or like get out of the purple stuff. Um, but he micromanages all of that. So like he micromanages when to do stuff and all of that. And
It's hard, man. Trust
yeah,
me. Like it sounds like it's easy. It's like, oh, delegating, but you have to trust. But you have to trust your teammate, one, and two. You have to make sure they're actually adequate enough to perform what you're asking of
yeah,
them, right? So it's like, yeah, that's why I really think it's actually a lot harder than people think. It's not like just clicking a mouse. It's like pattern analyzing, timing, like I said, resource management. It's like it's impressive to me. Like as I get older, I admire skills like that because that's like stuff you can actually apply in real life. Like allocating resources, making sure that like people are shifting in and out to like make sure they peak in energy stuff. That's why I see when I watch this, right? And I'm like, this is impressive because at the best, like the best of the world, they're so well coordinated at doing it. I'm like, you guys could like if you guys could swim, you guys be Olympic level swimming synchronized swimmers, dude. It's fucking incredible, dude.
for real. And I mean that's all those things are kind of what makes me like. Oh, I obviously agree with you, but I
Yeah.
really wish there was more for these players because and it's nice when we see big orgs picking up all these guilds because obviously a guild in WoW can have hundreds of people in it. Like,
Yeah.
and that's just the whole point of a guild. You know, it's a community thing, especially at a tier 1 level. It's all the best players that want to join you.
Mhm.
And obviously, Complexity's helping them out. They're letting them stream from the headquarters, getting them all in the same place so they can have that even bigger team bonding, like team chemistry. And obviously, Complexity gives them like obviously merch and stuff and their microphones and all their PCs, the basic shaz and stuff.
They fly him in too for free
Yeah,
sometimes.
exactly.
Like, yeah.
And I
I think this
just
team they flew in for sure. Yeah.
oh yeah, no, 100%. And I just wish there was more for them. Like I wish there was a prize pool that, but then again, it's that balancing act of, well, if there's a prize pool, you know, if it's only a couple of grand split between like 100 people,
Like $20.
yeah,
like sometimes five, right? Like
yeah. Now I don't
it's
know if
hard.
the orgs pay them or not. That's one thing I've always wondered, and maybe I'll do my digging next time. But
Oh,
I'm
so
curious if they get a salary.
I know some. So from my understanding and in my experience, because I did some snooping last year. Because when I heard that there was no prize pool, I was like, y'all working for free? Like you guys literally gave up a week, 2 weeks of your life to do this. So I did some dudes. If they don't make it as soon as the race to as soon as the event is over, they get dropped, and then
Yeah,
they get picked up again by another team next year. It's
yeah.
like
So
I don't
definitely, I
think they get
know.
paid. Like I don't think they get paid, dude.
Yeah, like I know for example, like Complexity like owns the guild, but I know
Mhm.
the guild does make some serious changes. Like personally, like they'll drop players here and there, and I don't think there is any contracts or anything. But it's cool. I am glad to see like Sonics as well.
Yeah.
Sonics just picked up a WoW guild, and they were doing really good until Complexity just overtook them. But it's cool to see big orgs picking up these guilds, like even for like some sponsors and stuff, because they can help them out. Like, and even sponsors and stuff, they can maybe start paying some of these players, maybe the ones that are more involved. But
Yeah, maybe the guild, like the actual raiders. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, like the
Yeah,
core.
yeah.
But
I mean, it'll be really cool. But yeah, like speaking of sponsorships, yo,
untraditional sponsor.
a traditional sponsorship, 100 Thieves is collabing with Gucci. They're teasing it, and as a fashion guy myself, I'm very interested to see what they do because one my main criticism of 100 Thieves, and I know like I'm not who am I? I'm a fucking bum compared to like Nate Shot, right? But my main criticism for 100 Thieves is that they don't actually they have a branding, but they don't have like a like a solid identity. And what I mean by that is as a guy who's like into branding and all that stuff, you look at Gucci, there's a Gucci pattern and there's a Gucci colorway, right? 100 Thieves has a colorway. It's red and black and white. Great, awesome. But they don't have like a pattern. And I think this collaboration is a next is a stepping stone for 100 Thieves, not just in like gathering more notoriety in their branding, but they're actually going to develop a solid, fashionable apparel pattern that they can say this is the 100 Thieves pattern. Because like you look at Bape, right? Bape has like the ape head camel. You look at Supreme, the iconic box logo, right? And you look at Gucci, the G, the G pattern on like that really beige tan, you know, material. And then you look at like Burberry, the Burberry pattern, like that. Like 100 Thieves doesn't have that yet, and I think we're gonna find out what they want their true identity to be when it comes to apparel. What do you think? Like, because I think still a super interesting collab, but for a fashion guy like me, I sit there, I go, well, what's the 100 Thieves pattern? So
Yeah, from like a I'm not gonna call myself a non-fashion person, but it's definitely like a different. It's different. It's a different branch of my like fashion.
yeah, it's super high end.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's like I'm like a trench coat kind of like that sort of older style fashion. Like I love that shit. Like um, so obviously all this like all the Gucci stuff and it doesn't really float down my alley. But I will say, obviously I love 100 Thieves. Like I actually really like what they've done so far. My big question is this going to be too big of a stepping stone? And what I mean by that is it going to be too expensive for fans? Because obviously Gucci is expensive.
I actually think so because right now they haven't made that stuff. They're trying to make that separation
Yeah.
of them from not just being a gaming brand but an apparel brand. The problem is that like we saw it with their last release with the essentials, the foundation line that they're having some difficulty creating that separation, some growing pains. Obviously, that's expected because they're trying to be an apparel brand.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. This is too huge of a step because people are already complaining about reasonably priced windbreakers. Imagine when they actually have to like buy a high end product like Gucci, making exclusive patterns,
Yeah.
high quality like materials. Like gamers are already complaining that they have to pay a fair price for something. Like
And
this is just gonna be bad. Like I think it's gonna really it's gonna I want to say set them back, but it's not gonna go. I hope it goes really well, but it's not gonna go. It's not gonna be well received by gamers. That's for sure.
yeah.
I know that.
And here's my two pain points for it. So the first one being obviously the price is going to be stupid expensive. It's just who Gucci is alone. But on
Yeah,
top of that, it's the like it's resellers, right? And resellers are gonna snag
they're
all
gonna
this
kill
shit
it.
up,
Yep.
thinking that gamers are wanting to buy it because it's 100 Thieves. And it's like, even if gamers don't buy it, all this is gonna be is almost like a fucking Bitcoin. It's gonna be like resellers buy it because they're gonna resell it, and it's not gonna be available. And it's
Mhm.
just gonna be this fashion piece. My second problem, my second pinpoint, is the fact that Gucci doesn't really speak to me as 100 Thieves. Like, if you think in Nade Shot, the first thing, if somebody came to me and said, who do you want to see collab with 100 Thieves? I'd think, okay, Nade Shot, and then I'd think sneakers. I'd go
Yeah,
sneakers, because Nade Shot loves his fucking sneakers.
yeah.
but when I think 100 Thieves and Gucci, it's not a it like it's cool and it's two big, like very big statements in their own, or sorry, big names in their own space.
Industry. Yeah,
Like Gucci in the fashion, 100 Thieves in the fashion esports, and like the collab makes sense, but it's not who I think of. Like I think of like Nike 100 Thieves, like Adidas 100 Thieves.
I what I think is that they're they skipped a step for me.
Yeah,
They skipped a step, like you said. Their natural collaboration, because they're not at a. I don't think 100 Thieves is at a stage where they can do whatever the fuck they want. Right? They're not that type of brand. They're not. They're not a brand that's gonna come in and be like, "Fuck you guys, we do whatever we want." Not yet. They haven't established that yet. Right? They're starting to, but this is what they like. You said a natural progression for them would have been like 100 Thieves X, Nike, or 100 Thieves X, I don't know, like Adidas.
yeah,
That footwear would be first, right? But for me, like, for them to step into high fashion, I felt like, at first they were trying to be a streetwear brand, and then now that they're doing streetwear pieces, they're not. It takes like 5 years to solidify your brand as like an apparel brand, like to see if it survives or if it sinks. And they haven't built that reputation of like they're just a gaming brand. Like no, they still have that reputation. They're not like an apparel. I still look at 100 Thieves as a gaming brand that makes great apparel, not an
yeah,
apparel brand that houses a gaming team. Right, and that's the issue at this current moment. Maybe like 10 years down the road, we'll have this conversation again and be like, wow, they turned it around. They're actually a fashion brand now.
yeah,
Right. So this is like, I know this is they need to, this is a big risk for them. And I think they didn't have to take this risk. I think what they could have done was naturally progressed upwards. For example, they could have done um 100 Thieves, X, like, I don't know, not reigning champ, but like an, a tier below Gucci, like a tier below high
yeah.
end fashion, like maybe like something solid, like not J. Crew, but like,
Even like
just,
Burberry, like Burberry's a bit of a better, slightly better example where it's like it's not as expensive as, right?
I mean,
Well,
I no, they're still high fashion. Like
yeah,
it's still high fashion. Like they needed to get out of like the gaming stuff first. They needed to do more streetwear collaborations.
yeah, yeah. I definitely
And
think sneakers was the stepping stone here. Like,
yeah, it was like sneakers, and then like maybe Bape, or like maybe
yeah,
like, or like maybe like Supreme, or like, I don't know, like just another streetwear company first, and then afterwards maybe 2 years of grinding out doing collabs with streetwear companies, then you move to the high fashion one.
yeah,
Right, this is way too early. And like, I know you got to create that separation, but like, I don't know, man, like
yeah,
like, I can't wait to see the pieces, but at the same time, I know that Gucci doesn't like taking risks. Like,
yeah,
they're not, like, when in collaborations, they don't take risks. They don't. They're very bad with taking risks in collaborations. You would have to be like another high end fashion designer for the house of Gucci to take a risk with you. So
yeah.
it's like, it's really hard. It's gonna be really difficult.
And my other, it's kind of like a more personal pain point, and I hope I don't offend anybody wanting to do say this, but
I'm already offended. No, I'm just joking.
but I've never been a huge fan. Like I think there's some stuff that Gucci makes that I really like. Like
Mhm.
there's the occasional piece, but I've always found a lot of Gucci, especially when it comes to actual clothing, to be a bit over the top. And that's personal. Obviously, it depends on what you like. But at least for somebody like myself, I like what 100 Thieves did with their kind of clean line. Like I said, I like more classy fashion style where it's like the trench coats and stuff, like in
Yeah.
that business attire sort of category. Um, but I don't know. I just really hope, like, there's some of the stuff they were wearing when they teased the little ad that 100 Thieves made. It's stuff that I go, yeah, it's kind of cool, but I don't think you'll catch gamers dead in it. Like, I think it's a little too over the top for anybody gaming, and then the price on top is just gonna hurt them.
Yeah, and it is like, you have to take big risks, and I hope it goes well, because if this does well, and 100 Thieves is at another level, right?
Yeah,
They managed to skip the streetwear level of collaborations and went straight into high fashion, right?
that's
So that's
actually,
like,
it's a
it's
really good
huge.
point. Yeah, because
Yeah.
if they do pull this off, and they can sponsor, they can do a collab with anyone, because if Gucci trusted them and it goes well, then almost anyone's gonna trust
Yeah,
them. Like,
almost. The brand is to the moon. Like it's not even a gaming brand anymore. It's truly an apparel brand because when Gucci accepts a collaboration from you, that's the thing. If Gucci accepts a collaboration and it goes fucking well, and then you get a second collaboration, that means Gucci thinks you're a fashion brand. And that's I know that's what Nation wants. Nation wants to be an apparel brand because let's face it, gaming teams don't make money.
yeah,
Right? Why? Because there's gamers don't like to spend money. That's the truth. We
yeah,
know this. Look at the WoW. Look at this WoW tournament. Race the first. Look, there's no money because y'all don't want to pay these guys. Y'all not
yeah,
gonna buy their apparel. But yeah, no, it'll create that separation. But like at the same time, it's like it's like a risk where if you don't do well, Gucci,
yeah. You're
yo,
not coming back. Like, or at least they'll never come back to you.
yeah, they're not, and then the worst part is all the other fashion houses like Dior, Burberry, Tom Ford, they're gonna look at you, they're gonna be like, "Eh!" Start laughing.
Yeah, we're not gonna try that. Because that's
Yeah,
the thing, like, for anybody who isn't in business or esports and you're just listening for the hell of it or whatnot, um, a lot of companies, so like if this Gucci one does fall through, a lot of other companies do case studies. And what a case study is where they look at examples that have happened in the past and they take their stats off of that. And if they
yeah,
did a case study for 100 Thieves, if they wanted to partner, like Burberry would look at that and go, man, that bombed last time. Like, we're not doing that. And the case study would come back, and all these companies would say no to 100 Thieves. I
yeah.
don't, I will say, I don't think it's going to bomb. And the pure reason is going to be resellers. And that's my only thing. I don't
I
think it's going to end up in the hands of gamers. I really don't.
yeah, I hope what they come out with. I hope it's good because this opens a lot of pathways for esports. It makes esports a little more legitimate,
Yeah.
right? But that's the problem. Like, where 100 Thieves doesn't want to be just esports. So, and then Gucci just wants to show that they're very diverse because they are. They've done collabs with video games before, streetwear companies before. So it's like, yeah, this is, and if this doesn't go well, they're gonna be like, esports sucks. Like,
Yeah.
and you don't want that. You don't want like, especially someone as reputable as Gucci. But
Do you
yeah,
think it's going to end up in the hands of gamers, or do you think resellers are just going to kill this again?
um, I think it's gonna be a bit of both, but I don't think it's gonna be what you want is you want fashion people to be wearing these pieces.
Yeah.
And if Nashot doesn't see fashion influencers wear 100 pieces outside of like gamer influencers, then that's bad news. That's bad news for everybody because that means the pieces aren't worth rocking outside in public. And
Yeah.
that's the main goal when you wear apparel to wear outside. So it's gonna be rough.
Yeah, I just hope it's not too flashy on the eyes, because it's,
That's that's the thing. I'm curious to see what the 100 Thieves pattern is, or if Gucci's gonna play it safe and just slap their 100 logo, like 100 number 100 everywhere.
yeah. I mean, it's definitely a weird one, but another weird thing in the news today, we got another unexpected collaboration, but not a normal collaboration. We got a Nickelodeon fighting game in the style of almost like Melee, like a Brawl, like,
Okay, okay. So I did so much. It came out literally like 6 hours ago before we shot this podcast. We actually scrapped like our third topic for this. I did so much research in that 6 hours. Let me tell you something. The person who made this game has experience with fighting games, right? They made Slap City. Slap City was an excellent Smash clone, and it had all the advanced mechanics of Melee, right? Like out canceling, wave dashing, parrying, all that stuff. And then the best part is they have rollback netcode, right? And then all of a sudden, when they announced the Smash clone game, I looked at the trailer and I was like, there's a logo that stands out here. It says Ludosity, right? And I'm like, those guys made Slap City. And so more news came out from the Ludosity Discord. The developers themselves were like, yeah, this is gonna have rollback netcode. You know, the one thing that Guilty Gear Strive fucking did well that connects literally the entire world to play fighting games together. This game, Nickelodeon game, made by like I don't know, a team of 10 people probably on a budget of a shoestring. Now it's like Nickelodeon money, so that's billions. But like they have rollback netcode. These Japanese developers can't even get their shit together to get the lobbies right, nor get online netcode. But this one guy who made a game called Slap City gets a fucking $1 billion IP, which by the way, we're talking Ninja Turtles, SpongeBob SquarePants, Ren and Stimpy for the boomers, like fucking this guy sitting here, he's like, yeah, we have rollback netcode. So you could play with your best friend in fucking Sweden, playing this Smash clone. And the best part is they're like another thing they Smash players kept spamming them about because like Slap City had amazing movement. If you played Slap City, you're like, wow, I could express myself. And I could press a ton of buttons, have fun. It had something called wave dashing. Wave dashing is when you unnaturally move your character across the screen, but very quickly. However, it requires a ton of advanced timing and inputs. This game has that. So not only did they get the rollback netcode thing right before Nintendo does, they also get Wave Dash, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna put it into $1 billion IP, aka SpongeBob SquarePants is gonna be wave dashing across the screen with his best boy Patrick and Sandy Cheeks. Like that's gonna be crazy. This is something that like I could never fathom. Like, and
So
then the worst part, yeah, the worst part is it's just an indie team that's like, yeah, we like having fun. We think this is fun. We're gonna make it easy for 6-year-olds and 42-year-olds to play this game together. What the fuck? Like, and then they got the netcode right. What?
here's a question for you, because obviously it seems like the FGC, it's obviously, I'm loving the Twitter memes and I don't even follow that much FGC, so it's obviously blowing up a little bit right now. But the my biggest question is, do you think, so let's say this game is perfect, like this game is like almost an ideal fighting game, do you think it's gonna hurt it, the fact that it's like, I mean, it's like SpongeBob and shit? Do you think it's still gonna have tournaments, or do you think people are gonna be a bit like, I'm not playing that because it's Nickelodeon? Like,
It depends if Nickelodeon wants to throw like pro circuit at it. But that's the thing. Like if Nickelodeon's smart, because I know Nickelodeon wants to get into video games and they want to make reputable video games.
yeah,
Right. That's why they hired Ludosity to do this. Uh, it can be viable, but honestly, they're not making this game to be competitive.
yeah,
They're not. They're literally making this game so like I could beat my friends up as Patrick Starr, and he can pick Sandy Cheeks to kick my ass. Right? Like that's literally why they made this game. It's just for fun. But
yeah,
the thing is, this game's gonna play like it's probably gonna play like complete garbage. But guess what? I could play that garbage across the world with someone in Japan, and they won't like.
yeah.
That's fucking incredible. Like that's gonna be that's that I'm shocked that this is happening. But yeah, I don't. But if it is a perfect fighting game, like if it is like let's say like everything that we want a melee to be, in terms of like just having other features, because melee is a great game, right? But let's say like it sort of plays like melee, but then it's also accessible enough for other people to play, and then on top of that, it has like a great lobby system and a competitive circuit. Like, yeah, I think it's not gonna hamper the Smash. It's very hard. Historically, it's very hard to beat established IPs. Like, look at Counter Strike and Valorant, right?
Yeah.
Counter Strike's still the biggest tactical FPS. It's just that like Valorant's number one B, not even two anymore. It's number one B. Like, it's very hard to knock like very entrenched IPs like that. So it's not gonna just like it's not gonna kill the Smash scene, but it is gonna bring a lot of new eyes, and it's gonna be very interesting because for many years Japanese developers have given us a ton of excuses to why things that other games generally have aren't in fighting games. And like at first, you know, for years, like the community in general just accepted that, like, yeah, it is hard to make a fighting game. It's hard to make any game. It's hard to fucking make any game. That's what people don't get. Any game requires a lot of time and effort, especially if you want it to be good. And then now that we have like an indie developer backed by Nickelodeon showing us that like, yeah, these things are possible. Just don't be fucking lazy. Care about what you do. Right? It's like, all right, like Japanese developers are starting to get put on blast for their lack of quality control,
Yeah,
really. Except for Nintendo. Nintendo's the best at it, obviously. Unironically, Japan, a Japanese company named Nintendo is great at quality control. Well, like everyone else is really bad, and like um yeah, that I don't think yeah, to short answer, nah, it's not gonna kill Smash. Uh it will get supported, but like people will still run back to Smash.
yeah. I think the toughest
Like
part about it is like even if it was like the perfect fighting game, even if they gave it a pro circuit, I think the tough part, especially for an FGC crowd, is they're gonna have to treat that game like Nintendo, or sorry, like Psyonix treats Rocket League, and Nintendo treats Smash. Because at the end of the day, these are all kids' characters. Like,
mhm.
as much as even if you still watch cartoons, I'm sure everybody still watches a cartoon from fucking time to time. But you know, there it's gonna be like Rocket League, where if you even say fuck, you're banned for like a year.
Yeah.
And that I
Oh,
don't see going well with the FGC crowd of all people.
oh
Uh,
no, dude. So Capcom tried to ban Pop-Offs like in 2015. Boy, what a riot. What a fucking riot. Everybody popped off after.
yeah,
You're talking to the most vibrant community where everyone from a culture where expressing yourself is very, very, very good. Yeah, no, that's like, yeah, no. Like, so someone's gonna spike a controller. You're gonna ban that guy? No. That's just part of the way it goes.
yeah. And speaking of that, like community sense and just the FGC being so vibrant and like characteristic, um, I'm excited. If you haven't heard and if you don't follow us on Twitter, obviously our event stadium at Waves Gaming is going to be opening back up early this week. We're actually going to be open for the 16th for the first NACL watch party, and
I'm happy for that.
I'm so excited to see events back, and like I hope we see some Incendium events. I hope we see like Valorant, CS:GO. Like I just want to see everything back online.
Yeah, like, because let's face it, nothing beats the offline experience. No matter how good your netcode is, nothing beats like beating someone beside you or like socializing with the guy besides you, seeing them face to face. Like that's incredible, man. Like, and I'm glad like ways is opening up again. But yeah, it's hopefully COVID doesn't end it again. Hopefully it's permanent this time.
Yeah, and the only thing that's gonna end is this podcast. So we are gonna be back on Friday. Uh, this is actually our official 10th episode. It's only
Oh
been
damn!
it's
What's
10
up, baby?
episodes. That one's for Chris. But yeah, if you haven't already, follow us on Twitter at the Re-Frag TV. And we'll be back on Friday and we'll see what happens for the rest of this week. We'll keep you all updated, a bit up to dated.
Up to
and,
date, baby.
and peace out.